Hey folks, continuing my project to do videos of all of the CSS Battle daily targets from the past. Today we're looking at October 13th, these E's, I guess. October 14th, which is this kind of star, reminds me a little bit of something military almost, and then these leaves, pretty fun. All right, let's go for it. I think let's make one of these with a paragraph tag and then flip it on its side. So what code do we need to do that? Background, so we've got actually pure white and pure black, so that because of the default, if you're in light mode, we don't need to do anything there. So we might not need a body tag at all. Yeah, we don't need a body tag at all, so let's not do that. Okay, so get a border 20 pixels solid, and we don't need a color there either, so borders are a natural way to do that. So let's set margins 60, 40, 30, 40, 42. 40, 42. There we go. The top margin needs to be more. 50, 60, 70. And how close are we? Not too close. I'll undo this background. So I need to increase this number 200. So I want to just conform to the border. Let's do that part for 230, 220, 222. Okay. Almost. So a little bit and a little taller. 1, 2, 120. That's how you get that guy. I'll make another one. His margin, so P plus P is the selector for him. We're going to need this, so let's variabilize this var dash m or this. I'm going to put the same margins on, and we'll get exactly what we see now, which is nothing of the second one. There he is. Now that his margin are reset, this is what it would naturally do. That's with margins I think unset is the right way to think about that. His margins aren't yeah, okay. So let's put those numbers back. Let's make that be probably minus 120. Minus 120. 30, 40, 50, 60. And then he's right on top. So if we flip the right and left margins, there we go. So now whatever I do to him gets both. If I do a linear gradient, you can see and put it at like at a weird angle, do red like that. Now if I scale, then I get the flip of that. So I think that's the technique we're going to use. Now, of course, we don't want a 45-degree linear gradient with red in it. What we want is my good buddy, the conic gradient. What's the size of that? And we're going to have black, and then transparent, or no, and white. 25%. Cool. So right now we're not symmetrical up and down. So so if I can do scale 1, no, I can do minus 1 and 1, and then now that's symmetrical the same way. But I think this is going to be symmetrical either way, up and down. So I'm only going to need a minus 1. But for now, I'll do this just for sanity's sake. All right. So that conic gradient is at 0, like 10 pixels or something. Let's give him a width. His width is 100%. His height, 40 pixels. And I'm going to do a no repeat so I can see what I'm doing. And for giggles, I will do a background of red. So I really see exactly what I'm doing. So 10, there it is. It needs to be a little taller. 40, 50, 60. We need a center at 20 pixels, 40 pixels, 30. Great. If I unset that red and unset the repeat, then there's my shapes. And now I can remove this. Fun fact, black is hashtag, right, or #000. It could also be 000F, right, to give you an alpha. If that's a different number, then it's a little lighter. It could also be 00000, which is more redundant. In this case, you could also use the word current color to define the color of this paragraph tag, which is the default for the body, like black text. That's what that color comes from. All of those are longer than that. Are there scenarios where you can do like weird tricks? There are certain scenarios where colors end up being, you can like fake a color. I'm not thinking of it right now. And I'm not even bringing in RGBA 0,0,0. That's another way to represent black. But basically, there's a lot of ways to do color in CSS, and this is just your reminder of that. Let's submit. That's enough of me talking about this. And sorry again for the sort of grinding construction in the background if you're hearing that. If you're not, hey, don't listen. Yeah, you can't even hear it. It doesn't matter. Minify, unit replace, and resubmit. And that is so. Oh, whoa! What did I do? Totally broke this dude. I broke the code. How did I do it? Let's undo. So that's still working there. Minify nuked it. How? Something about this code. Oh, because that plunk. There we go. So it collapsed the margins there to 3 digits, and that's nonsensical. So we didn't see anything. There we go. That's it. The grinding is quite loud now. All right, what do we got? This oval. So ovals are a little bit of the bane of my existence. You can do an ellipse radial gradient. In this case, I'm going to completely avoid doing that. And I'm just going to put this blue on the body and then use margins to create a rectangle for each one of the ovals that are on this page. So let's do that. 2, 3, 5, 6. And then we'll do the, which one would be, well, we're going to do the tall one first. 100, 100, 130, 40, 50, 60, 70, 65, let's say. We're going to put, let's do the height of 200, 180. That seems like it's conforming correctly. So now let's do a border radius. If this is truly an ellipse that's consistent, then this number should help. Yeah, there we go. So 50% of a border radius. So let's constrain those margins a little more or less. 4, 5, 6, 7. There it is. That's nice. Let's do another one. And again, we can't see him yet. So he's also going to have margins that we're going to variable as var m, comma, or that, and then his height is going to be h, or 180. I guess we could we rotate him? We could. Do we want to? Do we do any degrees? And then maybe a translate. Maybe we don't have to do the work there. Oh, so we would want a 0. There he is. He's coming up. 4, 5. maybe that's the way to do this. I was going to do margins. I mean, I was setting it all up. It just occurred to me that I could do a rotate and translate and probably have that work. And so I did, which means I don't need this variable nonsense. Very useful, but in this case, I got a different way to do it. So I did. All right, and then we need the ring. And the ring is pretty straightforward. It's a radial gradient that's blue, and then it's yellow, and then it's blue again. And obviously, we have some margins things happening there that are kind of interesting, which means that this radial gradient is doing some wonky stuff. It's actually adhering to the overall size of the element. So if I do the word circle, and then do probably, it's like 100 pixels, 0, 120 pixels, something like that. Then I need to do some mechanism to put him back where he belongs. 0 and then minus 20 pixels, 100, 120. So that's the background. Hey, and I got those numbers right. Awesome. Let's submit that. If I wanted to, if I cared, you know what else I could do? I can do a bottom margin of 0 and then avoid that, I think. Nope, not totally, but it does change. So all these margins are changing. 30, 40, 50, 60, 80, 90, 100. So again, that body is changing each time I'm making that change. With these margins, if I zero out the margin, and in this case, I don't really want to do that. So this is obviously it's a delicate procedure, right? So I'm going to undo a bunch of these and just leave it alone. But that points out just how brittle this particular solution is for CSS Battle, right? Like, this is a super specific solution for this design, for these. If I was going to make this as a background on something on a screen that wasn't 400 by 300, which is what we got here, right? Then I would write this code very differently. I might use percentages. I might feel obliged to do 50%, 50%, or even decide on that extent. Or decide on that background position beforehand. Like, what do I want it to do when the browser screen, when it appears on a phone, when it's on a tablet versus a great big screen, a big TV screen. Like, all of those scenarios are slightly different. So something to think about. These are the things we think about in web design, right? Like, when we create things for the web, we are conscious of where is it going to appear, because every browser is a little different. All right. Oh, this guy is he's so goofy. I remember this guy. I'm clicking minify. Blank template. So how do we get this weird shape? I think we've got to construct. So we'll do. So as you add elements on a page, the next one is going to be on top of the one before, right? So we need to do yellow first. So how do we do these shapes is the question. I think it's with border radius 50 pixels 0, like that. So that's the way to get that basic shape. So how short can we write the code to make that happen? Let's do that as this color, and we're going to have a lot of these, so let's variabilize this. var -b for background, like so. So 100, 120, 200, 0, -8. And that -8 is because of, what is it for? That -8 is because of the default margins on the body. So I make that 200 tall. And we're kind of getting that shape, but not quite. One, 210, 212. That's a shape. All right. How about P? M. Let's call it M. So the next one, what's the next one? He's got a background that is this color, right? And he's got margins, so we got to set margins to our, and I think we need to change different heights as well. So let's do that as a var --h, comma. All right, so margin for him is minus 100, 220, 0, minus 8. All right, great. And in his height, the other one is 180. Let's make him 150, just as a guess. All right, so we're gonna squish. We're gonna squish on him. A little more squish here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 22, 110, 20. His height is too high, 140, 130, 120. Nope, too much. That's gonna be N. So I'm gonna copy and paste him, because obviously we got some good code, but it's just for the wrong one. So M, and then so N is this, and this color, and that color is gonna be this dark color. Yes, very confusing. Okay. And then his height is 160. There we go. Now we're getting it, sort of. $50, 6, 5, 4. 140, 150. And is that all the pieces? There's a little bit of a funky edge there that I really do not like at all. Not at all. So what do I need to do all these guys? Can I do box shadow and have it work? Maybe. Let's do that as var. S for shadow, let's say. And then for these other ones, I'm gonna short circuit that shadow, because that's gonna mess with me. Will this work? I don't know. 2, and let's set a color there. Minus, this could work, maybe. 120, 220. That's shadow number 1. So if I do this, if I copy this, and I do S of 100 pixels, there it is. I need a negative. Hey, that's working. over 200, 230, 20, 40, 50. And then this last one, and a little higher. So this is 6, 7, 8, and a little more over, probably 8. Is that a solve? Is that a solution? Maybe. I was not thinking box shadow. Now we're not at 100%, so that's a problem. What is the nature of our problem? Is it these 9s? Let's submit that. We're just gonna keep trying stuff. That's 100% match, and we're gonna take it. I do see these edges are a little bit funky, but that's often happens with curves, and we got a lot of curves here. So yeah, I would not think of a box shadow. I was not thinking box shadow when I did this. I thought I was gonna make 3 more elements. Nope, not in this case. Setting the color that I then, for the background, that I then also reuse here. So I think that I can do what? -B and set that color. And I don't have to do a default because I've got 2 of them. I can nuke these 2 instances just to shave a little more characters off. This is not, none of my solutions are the absolute best code that you could write for code golf purposes, right? That's not why I'm doing it. The reason I do it is sort of remind myself and play with objects on a web page, margins and heights and kind of things I can do to do backgrounds and box shadows, inside box shadows, what kind of border radius to get what effects, whether it's a clip paths and their effects and all that stuff. So that's why I do it. It's for fun. I appreciate those of you who say, hey, you could shave 10 more characters off, but yeah, you don't have to do that. Do that for yourself, and do your own video and go into those details. But for me, this is really about exercising CSS processes, writing CSS and understanding what goes on in a web page, because it's a lot of fun, super fun to me. And that's final answer, 622.49. 100% match. And so yeah, this is we're under 20 left of videos that I have not, or of daily targets that I have not done videos for. So it's really fun as I near the end of this. There are some that are persistently 99.9% that I cannot solve, and each one of those probably is going to get their own video, just because they are so kind of painstaking. But these ones that have take work, believe me. I mean, you could see me struggle with some of these, but the 99.9 ones are always interesting in different ways. Why are they so difficult to get 100% match on with the CSS Battle backend, which uses Chromium? And there we go. All right, that's it. Have a great day. Go make a web page. Be good to each other.